Hello students, welcome back to the science class. So student, in the previous class in this chapter, that is tissue, we were talking about, in this one students we have already studied, studied the meristematic tissue students. Plant tissues classified into meristematic and permanent tissue. Meristematic tissues are those tissues which is having the power of division, and we have classified the meristematic tissue also into different types on the basis of the location as well as on the basis of the origin. On the basis of the origin, you will find that these tissues are what? They are classified into two types, that is primary meristem and secondary meristem. And talking about the location, so you will find that it is basically divided into three types, that is apical meristem, intercalary and lateral meristem. We have understood this concept even with the help of a diagram, that what is the exact location and what is their role in the plant. You see, it is basically present at the apical where the apex, it is also present at the internode, it is also present at the periphery of the plants or the trees. So there, they show the process of the division continuously that will help in increasing the length of the plant, and it is also responsible for increasing the girth or the diameter of the plant. So we can say here that the meristematic tissues, wherever it is present, it is a kind of a dividing cell that help in the growth of the plant, or that will help in increasing the width of the plant. We have also understood that what is a permanent tissue. You see student, permanent tissues are what? These are those tissues which have stopped dividing and now they are having some kind of a specific function, some kind of a specialized function. So they get differentiated from the meristematic tissues and now they are performing some function. We have seen even in the characteristic that how it differ from the meristematic tissue. There are some of the cells which is present in it are living or non-living. It means living or dead. Okay, living or dead. So if it is living, the cell wall is thin and consisting of a cellulose in it. If it is thick, then cell wall, if it is dead, then the cell wall is thick and there is no exchange of the material will take place. We have also seen that there are intercellular spaces present in the permanent tissue, but in case of a meristematic tissue, there is no such intercellular spaces are there. Even in the meristematic tissue, since they are having the power of a division, so they continuously divide. But in case of permanent tissues, the power of division is no power of division is there, or very less or poor capacity of a division will be shown by them. Okay, so this is about the two different type of a tissue, meristematic and permanent tissue. Permanent tissue is also classified into two, simple permanent tissue and complex permanent tissue. And the simple permanent tissue is also classified into three, that is parenchyma, collenchyma and sclerenchyma. Simple permanent tissue. Okay, so the tissue are composed of only one type of a cell, and therefore their composition is uniform. So these tissues are composed of one type of cell so the composition are uniform. So the composition are uniform. Okay, so its composition is uniform. Now the common type of the simple permanent tissue are parenchyma, collenchyma, sclerenchyma. Parenchyma, collenchyma and sclerenchyma. These are what? These are the three different types of tissues, permanent tissues, or simple permanent tissue. Now let us try to understand all the three type of tissues in detail. So we will start with the parenchyma tissue, that what is the parenchyma tissue and what is its role. Parenchyma. Parenchyma. So let us see what is there in the parenchyma. These are the most basic and fundamental tissue. They are isodiametric. It means they are of a same diameter and supposed to have, mainly they exist either in rounded shape or in oval shape. Okay. So these are composed of isodiametric cell, which isodiametric living cell, diametric living cell, which may be oval, or rounded. Isometric, it means the diameter are similar to each other. So these are isometric cells, student, isodiametric cells. When you look at them, now see here it is given that it is isodiametric living cell. If it is a living cell, so the walls are what? These are thin. And thin cellulosic wall is there, students. Okay, even in the case of a meristematic cells, we have seen that the meristematic tissue are having the cell which is thin and consisting of a cellulose in it. So, cells have thin cellulosic cell wall. Okay, cells have thin cellulosic cell wall, as well as we have seen in the characteristic of the parenchymatous tissue that parenchymatous tissues, the cell which is present in it, there are a lot of intercellular spaces are there. So obviously even in the parenchyma also, in the permanent tissue we have seen that they are having the intercellular spaces. So same thing we will going to see in case of the parenchyma, which is also a type of a simple permanent tissue. So here cells have a large intercellular spaces. They are having large intercellular spaces. Now the capacity, since it belongs to the permanent tissue, so the capacity of dividing is really very poor. So we can say that cells have poor division capacity. Cells have poor division capacity. They are having the poor division capacity. Okay. Protoplasm is very prominent, student. It means it is having dense cytoplasm as well as a prominent nuclei is also there. So that is why we can say it is having dense protoplasm, including the cytoplasm and the nucleus. So cells are having dense and living protoplasm. cells are having dense and living protoplasm. Now the parenchymatous cells it is parenchymatous, or we can say here parenchyma is basically found at the cortex, is found as an important constituent of cortex, pith, mesophils of leaf, mesophils of leaves, ground tissues of petiole, then pulp of fruit, endosperms, in xylem and phloem. Endosperms in xylem and phloem. So basically parenchyma, it is very important constituent, and this important constituent is present at the different parts of the plant. So it is found as a constituent of cortex, it is a constituent of a pith, present at the mesophyll of the leaves. It is present at the ground tissues of the petiole. It is present at the pulp of the fruit, endosperm in xylem as well as in the phloem tissue. Okay, this is about the parenchyma. Now, some of the parenchyma are such that they used to modify themselves into a different type of a parenchymatous tissue. Like it get converted, or it get modified into chlorenchyma or arrenchyma. So let us see what is it. Sometimes the cells which is a part of the parenchymatous tissue, they develop chlorophyll in it, and if the chlorophyll is there, they start performing the photosynthesis, and thus they are called as chlorenchymatous tissue. Cells of parenchyma may develop chlorophyll. And becomes photosynthetic. Okay. Such parenchyma is called chlorenchyma. That is called as chlorenchyma. Okay, so cells of the parenchyma, it may develop the chlorophyll. It is having the chlorophyll in it, and the chlorophyll having, it means they are actually photosynthetic, and these basically they are what? They are chlorenchymatous. It means they show the process of a photosynthesis. Now there are different types of plants are also there. Different types of plants are having the different kind of parenchymatous tissue also. Like in case of hydrophytes, large spaces are there in it which is filled with air, and that's why instead of calling there the name parenchyma only, we use another term for it, and that is called as erenchyma. So we can say here that in hydrophytes, the parenchyma may have large air cavities. Large air cavities. Such parenchyma is called erenchyma. That is called as erenchyma. Since the tissues are filled with air, so such kind of a parenchymatous tissue is called as erenchyma. In case of a xerophyte student, the kind of a parenchyma which is present in it is spongy. So we will call the spongy parenchymatous tissue is present. So in xerophytes, the parenchyma forms the mesophyll of the leaves. The mesophills of the leaves. Mesophyll of the leaves, and is called spongy parenchyma. Is called as spongy parenchyma. So in case of a xerophytes, the parenchymas there are these parenchyma of the mesophills or the mesophyll of the leaves. They are spongy parenchyma students. So here we have understood that what are the different characteristics of the parenchyma. Now let us see that what are the different functions of the parenchyma. Functions. So, function it. The first function it acts as a food storage. So it is a kind of a tissue which basically help in the food storage. So mainly serve as food storage tissue. Serve as food storage tissue. Second one, it is associated with wound healing, regeneration, okay, as well as formation of the adventitious root. All these things are associated with the parenchymatous tissues. So, since it is meristematic in nature, because it is dividing, it is a living cell, so it keeps on dividing. So since it is it shows the nature of a meristematic cell, so they are also responsible for the division of these things. So being meristematic in nature, being meristematic in nature, it is associated with wound healing, regeneration, then formation of adventitious root, Okay. So having the mesophiles in the leaves being photosynthetic, they are also responsible for the process of the photosynthesis. And the arenchymatous tissue, they help the plant to float in water. So as mesophils, parenchyma helps in photosynthesis. And as an arenchyma, it helps in floating of the plant. Floating of plants. Okay, so consisting of mesophils in the leaves, they are responsible for carrying out the process of photosynthesis, and being arenchymatous, having air-filled tissue cells in it that will help them to float, especially the hydrophyte plants. Okay, these also help in maintaining the turgidity of the cell. So also maintains turgidity of the, also help in maintaining the turgidity of the cells. Then storage. So what kind of a storage it is? It helps in storage they also serve to store various products like gum, tannins, crystals, resins, and inorganic waste material. Okay. So it helps in maintaining the turgidity of the cell, as well as it is also responsible in the storage of the product. It helps in the storing of the substances, including the gum, including resin, crystal and tannins. These all are stored here. So inorganic waste material, everything is stored into the parenchymatous cell. Talking about the next one, which is also called as the collenchymatous cell, students. So in case of a collenchymatous cell, collenchymatous cell. So, collenchymatous, these tissues, they are, we can say they are also living and they are elongated cell. So, these tissues are also living and they are also living and with elongated cell, living with elongated cell, with the angular and elongated cells, angular and elongated cells. Okay, so these tissues, they are living with the angular and with the elongated cells. Okay, the cells are thick walled. These cells are thick walled. These cells are thick walled and the thickness is actually uneven. So we can say that these are unevenly thick. These are unevenly thick. Okay. So if it is thick, so the intercellular spaces are almost absent. So the intercellular spaces are also almost absent. Okay, so these intercellular spaces are almost absent here. Okay, so we can say the tissues, they are living with the elongated cells in it. These tissues, they are thick, uneven distribution of the thickness is there. It means somewhere it is thin, somewhere it is thick. And the reason is because of the deposition occur in it, and because of this only the intercellular spaces between them is also absent. Now let us see the other point, that the thickening of the cell wall is due to the presence of the pectin in it. So the thickening of the cell wall is due to pectin and also because of cellulose present in it, and also of cellulose. But here no lignin is present. No lignin is present. Lignin is actually absent here. Okay. It is chiefly produced at the peripheral region of the stem as well as of the leaves. Okay. present at peripheral region of stems and leaves. It is present at the peripheral region of stem and leaves.